try to get the ladies warm and warmed up?
We already did that this morning. Yeah, we were going twice today. We went really hard this morning for an hour and a half, and then we'll go this afternoon for an hour and a half. So it was all defense this morning.
KK described the defense as a little bit lazy. Just to you share those strong words about how you've been defensively.
I think it just hasn't been efficient. I wouldn't say lazy. I would have to say that footwork positioning need to be more cognizant of, totally understanding high side. When you force people to the sideline, it just takes away more options. So I think it's just being efficient enough and really tuning in on the details. And it's the mental part right now. Physically, we're capable of doing anything, but it's that mental part.
She and Didi both mentioned that players are getting in the middle on you, and that's just opening up a lot of options for them. Is that the crux of the problem?
Yeah, when as an offensive player, you want to get to the paint because you have so many more options. If you keep people on the sideline, there's only 2 options, and if you get to the middle, you have 5 options, yourself and all the other players. So, we've always had that philosophy, not getting beat middle, and we have to just do a better job. If they go baseline and beat us all the time, that's fine, but you usually have a defensive player in the baseline that can help you.
Just what should be this team's identity defensively?
Mainly keeping people out of the middle. I mean, that's the biggest thing. I mean, that's what I've taught for 8 years here, was keeping them out of the middle, forcing the baseline, having people have to make tougher passes over big post players, and then being able to rotate out of it. And then when you rotate out of it, not letting people go to the middle, because that's what you try to do. You try to attack and get to the baseline and make an extra pass. And when people are flying at you, you want to attack the middle.
You feel good about your personnel, assuming it stays out of foul trouble, that they can do what you want them to do defensively?
Yeah, because we did it for probably about 10 out of the 12 games. Right. So we're capable. We've done it, in the non-conference, we probably did it a good 10 out of 12. And then obviously Ohio State broke us down some. Yeah. And, we just, from the get-go, the rhythm of the game was awful. Getting our post players in foul trouble made it even harder. So it was just a collective, collective effort, bad effort on both ends there. So
offensively, would you like to see more balance like the Central Michigan game compared to the Ohio State game?
It doesn't mean balance. I mean, thank God KK was hitting and she showed up. There's going to be games where people just have to take over, and there's going to be games that you can share the ball. When we had Lisa and Whitney really are our scorers down low, and when they're sitting on the bench, it's hard for them to score, so we had to be more guard-oriented. So we've played some games that way, but we got to have Whitney or Lisa scoring for us quite a bit. And then the last 8 minutes, they played 9 minutes without getting a foul, so, in the second half. So that was amazing to close things out, and they scored.
Just with Indiana, coming in unbeaten, and probably, obviously the surprise team of the league right now. What's the difference between last year and this year with them?
I just think that, it takes a while for people to understand the system. He's playing freshmen. They're hungry. They're very, very consistent on both ends of the floor. They don't try to push too much. They don't try to force things. The players that come in, if they're supposed to be three-point shooters, they shoot the three and they make them. If you're supposed to be a rebounder, that's what they do. So they're just very, very steady as they continue to play. With this group, do you have to say a whole lot with the next opponent coming in, it being IU? I don't think so. I am telling them that they're a team to beat because they're undefeated, and they're the team to beat, not us. They're the ones that have the best record, and they beat us last year. So we're the ones that need to be the hunter, not the hunted, and bring that energy and know that it's IU. So, it just goes back to pride. That's what it goes back to.
Assuming Whitney stays in the starting lineup, will she?
I'm not sure.
Okay. If she starts, then who's your spark off the bench at that point?
Well, it's difficult. We don't. There's certain people that come in, but, if we bring Whitney off, I've got to have Whitney or Lisa on the floor. So if Lisa's on the floor, then Whitney can sit, and we can vice versa, and then at times play them together, and we've been able to do that. The bottom line is we got to have Whitney in. So, it could be any spark. I could start a different lineup, which I was planning on. We'll see what happens health-wise, but bringing different people off the bench to see what they can bring. So, it's right now, I told them it's all who's going to earn it. That's what it's coming down to.
Is more earn it defensively?
Yes. It's all about defense right now.
Just with, I guess the odds or chances that the game even gets played Monday night? I mean, is that where do things stand right now?
Not really sure. I think it's 50-50. I mean, people have to make those decisions. That's a higher being than all of us. When you're dealing, it's mainly a safety issue. So, because it just doesn't affect teams, it affects many members, a lot of working people, a lot of other people. So, I'm sure we'll know by tonight at some point if we're going to be able to play or not.
And Indiana has to get here, and then, it's going to be pretty cold Monday night.
But that's the thing, I don't know what's happening. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm out of the loop on that. All I know is even if a team gets here, it's always how bad is it going to be? It's the
Right.
safety issues. It's workers coming in on Monday. It's how are the roads? I mean, there's 8,000 people it affects. It doesn't affect just two teams. So, again, it's out of my hands. It's somebody else's decision. And I just want to make sure it's safe. I mean, that's everybody's safety and concern, and that, everybody's doing the right thing.
Hate to play the hypothetical, but if there would be a schedule change, are you confident that it wouldn't be too crazy to get that one back in?
I think we'd have to, I think just with the conference, but it depends. Again, that's not my decision. It's going to have to be, the Big Ten and administrators and trying to figure out when they can plug that game in. I mean, it's going to be difficult because it's pretty smush, and I'm sure our bye week isn't IU's bye week, but we've got to do what we've got to do. I mean, it's, as we say, it's about life, and it's about life. It's not about the game of basketball.